Welcome back to Casual Retro Gamer. This here is a C64C that I picked up from eBay a few weeks back. Cost me £35, spares of repairs, and apparently showing a black screen. Initial inspection shows that the number 8 key is missing its spring, or it seems to be anyway. The machine itself is absolutely disgusting. It's obviously been stored in a garage or a garden shed for quite a while. But one nice thing is that its warranty sticker is still intact. Hopefully that means nobody has been in here before tried to do some repairs, but we'll soon see when we get it apart. We also have this spare C64C motherboard to have a look at. It is missing a few bits and pieces. We're missing the CPU, the RAM, the VIC and the SID. So hopefully we can get both of these boards powered up today. But we're going to start with the full machine, and then we'll probably have to borrow a few bits out of this to try and get this one working too. Let's get started. Very satisfying breaking through that warranty seal for the first time. Not particularly nice. What's left of a dead fly. Yep, this machine is absolutely disgusting. It looks like it has been infested at one point in its history. I'm gonna continue taking this apart and give it a bit of a clean. Absolutely disgusting. So all the shielding was in place in the case. I don't think anyone has been in here before. We did have one little standoff broken up in this corner, so we'll try and glue that on later. And here's our board. There appears to be a little bit of corrosion here on it, so I can only assume something must have been spilt once upon a time. We'll try and clean that up with a wee bit of IPA. I think we'll just measure these 3 traces here to make sure that nothing is broken. Whatever that was, it was obviously very corrosive. You can actually feel a bit of an indentation on the surface of the board there. No damage on the other side though. And it certainly looks like no reworking has ever been done on this board. Let's test these here. I'll maybe just go over this with the fiberglass pen just to try and get rid of all that corrosion. But I want to test this first. Okay, so I just want to test these 3 traces here where the corrosion was. And what I think we'll do is use our other C64C board just as a reference point. So this will probably be easier to test on the underside of the board, I think. So it was these 3 points here. So on this board, these 3 points go over to these capacitors. I think this one was there, yep. That one is there. And that one is there. Despite these two boards being different colours, they are the same revision. So we would expect these traces to be the same. So let's try this one first. Where did that go again? So that one went to there. Nothing. We have one broken trace. The next one was between there and there. Did I test that first one to the right spot? Yep, no, the first one's definitely broken. Second one, definitely broken. And the last one, no, at least that's okay. Okay, so we have two broken traces. That is these two here, coming down through there, and presumably are broken at this point. So what I'll do is get the fiberglass pen, and we'll just scratch all this off a wee bit to see how bad the damage is, and then we'll have a think about trying to repair it. So this corrosion here was actually quite tough. The fiberglass pen alone didn't quite cut it. I wound up using this wee wire brush pen and even a screwdriver to try and scrape this off. That seems to be the most of it away now though, and we have exposed the copper here slightly on, well, the three traces. Just wanted to scratch off the wee bit of corrosion that was on this one, albeit this one is reading fine. Sorry about that, camera crashed. So what have I done? Well, we have covered up all the exposed copper here, just with a bit of nail polish, and this label that had actually fell off the board originally, just stuck that on there to try and hide some of the damage. And then on the underside of the board here, just installed these two patch wires to make up for those two damaged traces. So the next thing to do then really is to try and put a bit of power through this board, and let's see exactly what is happening. So power on. Oh, hold on a second. Wow, that power switch is really hard to operate. And we're just getting a load of lines. Okay. That power switch is, it just doesn't feel right. You see, I turned that on there and nothing was happening. I had to wiggle it a bit. Like, that's it on, and there's nothing happening on screen until I wiggle the power switch a bit. So, need to have a bit of a closer look at that. But we are getting those lines, vertical lines, or vertical and horizontal lines on the screen, so we'll need to have a look into that. We'll probably crack out the dead test and see what that tells us. Before we do that though, it might just be worthwhile pulling these few socketed chips here and spraying a wee bit of contact cleaner in there and in around the switch to see if we can't get that freed up a bit. Feels a lot more like a normal switch now. Oh my god, it's disgusting. Complete infestation. For God's sake, there's one stuck to the bottom of the SID chip and everything. They're absolutely everywhere. the bugs. Quite literal bugs in the hardware. So I know this stuff says that it is non-conductive, but I sprayed quite a bit of it on there, so I'm just going to let that dry for a second while I show you this. This website is pretty cool. It lists out quite a few C64 faults, but the good thing about it is it shows you a wee image of what the fault would generate on screen. And if we look here, that is very like the problem that we were seeing. So possibly CIA number 2 is at fault. But if you look down through this, it shows you all sorts of faults, problems, and shows you screens that would be associated with that fault, which is pretty cool, and it can help you diagnose problems. Anyway, that should be pretty much dry by now. Yep. So let's try it again. You never know. Could it be that simple? Our switch is working nicely now. Okay, the machine is powering a lot more fluidly now. The switch is working really nice. But we are getting this error, and that is very similar, if not identical, to that one, which suggests CIA number 2. Which is this chip at the end here. So that isn't in a socket, that is just surface mounted, so we would have to desolder that. Before we get too carried away though and try that, what I think we should do is just give our dead test a quick go to see if it maybe also confirms that this CIA is at fault. That's this set for dead test. In fact, I didn't even check. I bet this cartridge port's full of bugs as well. No, surprisingly it's not. Alright, let's see what our dead test does. So the cartridge seems to be running okay, but we're getting the same error on the screen. Now we can't see any output through this mess. What should we do? Well, maybe just pull the CIA out and see if anything changes. I think we'll try that. So while it may seem counterintuitive, the easiest way to desolder is to first add a bit of fresh solder. That just helps to get the heat transfer. So that's our chip removed, and I have fitted the socket just in its place. Let's give the board another test then. It sort of works. What is going on now? Something wrong with the SID? Or with the VIC, should I say? Look at that. If I push down on the VIC chip, that gets better. Is it away? And everything would appear to be working fine. I do have to apply quite a bit of pressure on this though. So possibly dodgy connections on this socket here. That's an old Commodore socket, you know, those type with the legs only on the one side. They always do have a really bad connection. Right, okay, we'll take this chip out again. Try and give all this another good clean. Maybe reflow the bottom of this socket and see if that makes any difference. No, we've still got the same error. I do have a spare Vic chip for this machine, so let's just try that in here quickly. Albeit I'm not convinced that chip is faulty. That's our new socket fitted. 2 sockets, one of them just cut down the size a wee bit to make it work. I was giving the board a bit of a clean and actually noticed there was more corrosion over here. Just at this point here, the keyboard connector. So like up there, it was just a big blob of corrosion and there was one broken trace. I've just patched it here on the top side, just with a wee bit of that Kynar style solid core wire. So like up here, I just like to go over it just with a wee bit of nail polish just to help protect it. That nail polish is dry now, so let's just try with our Vic chip in again and see if our new socket makes the difference. No, still exactly the same. Oh, what is going on with this board? So it was probably nothing to do with that socket then, was it? I wonder, is it something to do with this? Hello? So when I touched the socket down here, it suddenly went fine. That's strange. I wonder, does it need the CIA chip to be installed? Is that a quirk of the C64C? Do you get that sort of rolling image on the screen if you do not have this chip installed? Oh, look, I've touched it again and now it's went back to that. Right, let's get this chip in here. This is a spare CIA chip that I had lying. So we'll stick that in. It has previously been desoldered, so the pins on it are not the best. But it seems to be in there nice and tight, so let's see if that makes a difference. Looking good. Came up straight away. No nasty rolling artifacts on the screen. That was weird. So I spent, what, 15 minutes replacing that socket for probably no reason whatsoever. It was absolutely nothing to do with that. Lesson learnt. I think what we'll do though is try our diagnostic harness. So we have a PLA fault. Where is the PLA on the C64C? So this is our PLA, this big integrated chip. Oh dear, because I do not have any spare parts for that. Well, other than the one that's on this board that we were also going to try and fix. But other than I've thrown that fault in the diagnostic, everything else seems to be working fine. The keyboard's good, at least that's something we can say. other than that number 8 key is in fact missing a spring. I just have it held up here at the minute, out of the way. So as you see, everything looks fine and it sounds good. And we're running Donkey Kong here with absolutely no problem whatsoever. So, makes me wonder, is there a problem in here? Or is it maybe just a quirk of that diagnostic cartridge on the C64C? I'm not 100% convinced though that is the case, and there might very well be something faulty in here. But if anyone maybe knows, would you let me know in the comments section? It is very possible, if there is something wrong in here, that is what damaged our other CIA chip, and then it would only be a matter of time before that one would fail as well. That sounds completely different, doesn't it? I wonder if it's just that different SID. I know some games do sound different with that. Right, anyway, I think this video is starting to drag on a wee bit, so we'll just call it a day here. I'm going to do a wee bit more research on this chip here. And then next time, we'll finally get round to this one. Hopefully we can get one complete board without any errors in the diagnostic. That'll do for this time though. If you enjoyed what you've seen, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And I'll see you again soon.